Clerk call the roll, please.
Yes, sir. Molly Bainline. Yes. Alex Cassett.
Here.
Dan Briscoe.
Here.
Bill Carson.
Here.
Walter Townsend.
Here.
Roger Whitney.
Here.
Robert Smith.
Here. The, town administrator and the, interim town clerk and I went over this agenda, half a dozen times, and it looks like, we can't think of any adjustments or modifications that needed. Like everything. In that area. Sticking to a point we need to talk to you about. I talked about the life. Because of that. So. We just start off, then, in and out of the office almost every day, keeping up with their delinquent and, past due accounts with the town administrator and keeping track on of some of those, businesses that want to get caught up and those that probably remember to get caught up. We're working on it. I really only have two things to talk about. One of them is that, last month, set the end of February as the date closed the acceptance of any applications for the town clerk position. We didn't get any more. This Wade had decided to get her name in the hat. She's the only candidate for that. So I'm going to ask for the regular meeting this month to have a closed session so we can properly interview her and there'll be no questions about what we decide. So let's put it on the agenda for the 23rd of this month.
I wanted to ask about something real quick. You were talking about, some of the things with taxes and all of that. I wanted to ask about, it sounds to me like the market is not going to be accepting any vendors that are not.
Well, Kathy's here tonight and when we get down,
Yeah. I would love that because, I heard from.
Well, as far as I need to know, I always find you.
Okay, I appreciate that.
we're gonna, let's get down to,
I see decisions were made and we just don't know. I didn't know about it. And so I'm getting calls.
Yeah.
And I don't know about it.
but
So
basically,
that would be really helpful for us to have.
well, I've already asked for Kathy to hang around when we get down to, before we get into this agenda is sort of divided into two parts. This group, the first part, town administrator, the second part. So when we get finished with our part here, we'll start on Kathy to give a short presentation of what she expects this year. And, we'll be able to answer them.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I will probably have questions and I probably ask.
The other thing I want to talk about for a minute is these Freedom of Information Act things. First of all, it probably would not hurt anything else if I can look again about Freedom of Information Act. Every one of you guys can walk in here any day of the week and say, I would like to see something, and the town administrator will show you what Bob has. There's no reason for anybody at this table to file Freedom of Information request. You already have the right.
There has been. I put in requests for a couple of documents, wondering about the different, videos and things like that. From what I understand, they've been having download all of those, and so maybe that has changed. I don't know, but.
What I'm saying to each one of you is that you don't have to file a Freedom of Information request to get something out of the file cabinet.
I don't think this was in a file cabinet.
Or wherever it is. I'm just saying you have free access to it. Don't need to stop out of the request.
Okay,
All right.
I'm just saying if it's not that situation,
Well, then you
you can ask somebody.
take it up to our list.
I did.
Okay.
Never heard of that.
Just keep in mind, always you have the right to put anything in the file.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
The other thing is that only individuals can file Freedom of Information Act. request. The committees cannot file Freedom of Information Act.
I can
I know, I was.
do that.
That's the problem, okay?
Um,
And when you do come in and look at something in the file, don't be making copies for your buddies because they didn't want, I'm not talking to anybody directly, I'm just making a general statement. And so just, old horses there for them.
okay.
Somebody, if a citizen wants to file a request, they just have every right to do that. But don't come in here looking to find some information in the file that you can make a copy of and give it to your buddy. Because he doesn't want to file a proof of information request. Yeah. So, the main thing is you have the right to go to the files and look at things. You're elected official of the town. You don't have to file a request to do that. You just have to find out which file it's in, and that can be challenging. Okay?
You know what that was all about, but it wasn't available like that. And that's fine.
I'm just telling you, you're not need to file a request.
I didn't do a FOIA request.
Okay. So, that's all I really want to say about it. I'm going to go to Chief, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, thank you for having me this evening. As you can see by the significant calls for service, we did respond to on Scottsville Road in the 3000 block for a flatbed trailer and a motor tractor that had been stolen from a person's property out there. Looked like during our investigation, we were able to learn somebody pushed the arm gates open with a vehicle, drove in onto the property, the flatbed trailer there, hooked up to the trailer, loaded the person's tractor on the trailer, and drove away with it. Myself and the staff, we looked at all of our cameras here in the town and even some just on the outskirts of town. And that truck, trailer, tractor did not come through the town of Scottsville after it was taken. So we can only surmise that once it was taken, it went northbound. From what we were able to learn was that Albemarle had also had a tractor that was stolen up at the Old Fashioned Square Mall parking lot like a week or two prior to this happening. And I understand it's happening around the area as well. But anyway, we did respond to that. We were not able to get any of the leads to this point where the may have went to. So we're still looking for it. We've assisted Albemarle County with a number of vehicle crashes out on Irish Road and on Spring Road this reporting period. We also responded to a sexual assault report out on Poplar Spring Road. It was determined that the alleged victim was 14 years old. ACPD detectives have conducted a follow-up investigation into that incident. We also assisted ACPD with a number of prior one domestic investigations. Once they get on scene with us, they assume the lead investigators on those incidents. We also responded to a report of a domestic up here on Bird Street. After conducting our investigation, we assisted the female with a protective order and secured a felony warrant for the male making threats to burn down the home. The male subject was arrested that evening and served the protective order and the felony warrant. We had a couple of community engagements during the night this past month. Also, National Night Out's going to be again this year, August. First
Tuesday of the month.
First Tuesday.
First Tuesday this year.
First Tuesday. Auxiliary officers donated 70.5 hours of their time. You can see the cost savings to the town, to the police department, for their work. We completed our annual bonds qualifications. We and our regional stakeholders held our first July 4th planning committee meeting last month. And we attended the regional meeting with UDA Police and Region 10 regarding the mental health exchange program. And two things that I didn't have that I meant to put on here was one was the LPR camera grant has got an invoice and it is due to be paid. And I think we've been holding back on which fund to take that money out of until council makes a decision. I know prior we had been moving the funds out of the savings. Once the grant's reimbursed, that money goes back into the savings. I just wanted to make sure that we can still get it.
I really wish we had a form for approving money going out the door. It'd be so nice to know exactly which fund and how much money and what it's for and all that.
Well,
I've been talking about it for a long time, but,
council did approve the LPR grant.
I know, but saying that it would be nice to have if stuff like this, but you're saying which, fund should I take it out of?
It's not, you take part of funds out.
How much is it?
Okay.
So the LPR grant is $10,000. And once we spend the money, then the Virginia State Police reimburses the town for the $10,000. I've also submitted, and our drone for the grant is being built now. Sergeant Ball and I just had a meeting with our contact with the Scottsville folks, and that that drone should be built in our hands late April, May at some point.
What's the cost?
23 and a couple, I think it was 23,230 or something like that. Is what that was.
That's planned on the spring or summer, so the reason I'm asking is because it might help determine what account to take it out of. Only 10,000 that time.
Interesting that,
That's not.
right, if you have a form that we can make it easy for someone to approve and check that box, run it through. And it would get on the sheet of paper instead of trying to, then bullets, but if it look and see which account needs.
Oh, we're running through council before
They did.
So I just know when these bills come due and I get these invoices, they expect payment. And we can't get reimbursed until the town pays first. This grant will come to where I have to sort of on that, so when we build that.
You're like, that would slow you down.
I'm not saying it will slow us down, I'm just saying there is a paper trail that's kept when I get these invoices, so I bring all of this to town council before I ever make an application to a grant. Town council approves them.
If that's not gonna work in the system, then don't worry about it. I'm just saying that I personally think that we could try on the actual purchase.
Well, we do have a paper trail, we have invoice, and then we have payments,
Okay.
but if you want me to create a
I'm not
document, I can do that, it's just whether it has to come back to council.
I don't think it should. If they approved it, or if we as a group approved it, then you should be going directly to, Elizabeth and asking her which account to take it out of. By now, she is well aware of how much money is in each fund and would be able to say, it should come out of this.
But I think that might be some of the whole of it is, I don't think council's giving her any direction, that's the impression I'm getting.
And there are what you need to, I see where the chief is going, he needs some authorization for not only him, but also for them, but what fund to take it out of. Is that what you're getting at?
You're correct.
I know there's been a lot of discussion on these things.
Tonight, let's discuss those two funds.
I understand we're gonna discuss, but I need a decision because these invoices are coming due of where do we take it from. I've been holding on to the one invoice since January that it hasn't been paid.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to get some direction from council as to where the money needs to come from so we can pay and get our reimbursement.
Chief, are you aware which account it was taken out of previously?
But Javier from what I understood, and he's told me this, that he took them from either one of us. That council didn't really give a lot of guidance on which, fund is specifically taken from. It was just, we take the grant funding from these accounts or this account,
Okay.
because the money was gonna go directly back in once they were reimbursed to the town. And that has always been done in my knowledge. So I now I see that the accounts have been split into a Caldwell fund and a.
That's the new name of the fund.
I think there's been that name forever.
Oh,
Cheap, but I would probably just take it as a savings account, just not.
Yeah, that's a fair account.
If we need to go, we're gonna have cash available, then we'll talk about it and follow up on. That's what we're gonna set up. We won't have that voted on until next meeting, so I think that direction is probably the way to go, is it's in the savings account.
Yeah.
Take it out of there,
That's usually what it's done.
if you have enough to.
Okay, and the
And if
same,
not, we'll have-
same as the LGI.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion about that, and designate the money, the appropriate amount of the money and what fund is going to pay for what, and then you'll have the papers.
So we'll get together, the council will, authorize, town administrator to do that, savings or whatever. And it shouldn't be a problem whatsoever from the town council, because both of these purchases you were talking about are gonna be replaced with the grant anyway. It's not like we're
Right.
making a purchase and then we're gonna have to figure out a way to pay it back. It's just gonna be, so it shouldn't be a problem. I think we can go ahead and, at the upcoming meeting, make the motion and get it passed on. I guess we'll, figure out a way to word it and we'll go from there.
If that's redundant, I mean, having to
Do
approve
like
it
that
again.
correction on that, so.
I know, I think so, yes.
It's already been approved by this body.
I know.
I
But
just
to
see-
approve the money again because you don't know which fund to put in.
$10,000, see that we're.
No, I think it's good, but then it goes to Alyssa and you review the finances every month, right?
And in the past, the town administrator has looked at both funds and decided which would be the appropriate one to take it out of and leave it for the town administrator should.
Okay, well, I think that that's what we need to do is start counting on her to do her job.
Then we go ahead and allow it. You discussed that earlier, so you like, no, and you want to be able to follow the paper trail or whatever. That shows the process stuff, but what we're trying to do is go ahead and say, it's okay to go ahead and do this. Show us the
Look,
paperwork
I'm
later.
not trying to do bureaucracy here. I worked for UVA for years. I know about bureaucracy, but a cover sheet that just says that this is what this is.
I can put a cover sheet together. It's not a problem.
I just think that if the account number or some sort of identifying, I mean, you say LGIP, you say savings account, I don't want any confusion there, obviously. But then, and then the mayor looks over it, I think we're covered. I just don't want to add more to the agenda. We have to get going.
Okay, so I've got consensus saving LGIP.
Yeah, I think that's, local government investment case.
So we're gonna do it with, you just have to pick the motion for that.
We're nice.
Yes. Then we got.
And I'll put together a cover sheet if you're just wanting to know, what the grant
You
is.
should be able to know. You should look at that cover sheet and see that that account is listed there. You shouldn't have any question about it.
I don't,
But if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the council. I'm just saying, we have done this every single time. And I think there should be a real solid thing for Elizabeth to do on these kinds of things. I don't know why we're trying to approve it again.
Because we had the administrators, $27,000 on benches, and the council decided we wanted more interaction with larger financial spending. So that's why we're going over it again.
Not this town administrator, just to let you know. I know that. Thank you. Well, for the record, it wasn't this. Yeah.
Yes, not that one. A different one.
Okay, so we need to look over things over $10,000, we have to point it twice. Okay. Alright, sorry to bother your time.
I'll move that. Over. Yeah, so it's about these, sweet, we study it, but we're not finished yet, but anyway, we got some information about that.
Just,
Chief is still got the floor, so let's finish.
Elizabeth, did you have signs or example signs for the J break stuff? So, you know, have looked at a couple of jurisdictions that have no J break ordinances, and I know it's ordinance did include the J break from these big trucks coming through the town as well, as being prohibited. And we wanted to put a couple of examples together for council to consider and look at. Doesn't have to be done right away, but before we can sort the J-Clip, we do have to have it posted up on the interesting is.
They are in your packets. There's 3 examples of the noise ordinance, and then there's 3 examples of the dead brothers, issues.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, sure.
On the big break, fortunately or unfortunately, since I started to pay attention, and I live and work from home, I hear a lot of big break. I didn't used to pay attention to them in the care. I'm used to that now, but my question is, the bottom line is, the truck is coming into town, obviously I want them to be able to screech their brakes and not run over a child. Want them to be able to do whatever they have to do. Is the reason we're hearing a big break, is that a sign that they're coming in too fast?
But it's
Auxiliary brake kit.
It's actually a safety feature on the truck.
it shouldn't even be used. It's to keep them from having to push their brake to slow the truck down. They hit this switch, from what I understand, and it's a.
We have them on, we have them on, every time you put off the accelerator, you're kicking it, we have them on every piece of that race, the accelerator. Before you even move to the brake, it's in.
So
Auxiliary braking.
Engine brake is what it is.
well, my question is, I would rather have them screaming through the town if they have to be safe. So in other words, so that's my question. My question ultimately is, I don't want to create a rule that makes it unsafe. That's all. So that's more what I'm asking, because I want to make sure that if the truck needs safety, I don't care what let's stop. So, but at the same time, if they're being too noisy when they don't have to be, then that's a different thing. So that's sort of what you're saying, is most of them too noisy when they don't have to be.
You don't have.
So just so you know, I've built a truck that has J-brake, not every truck out there has an exhaust or engine brake. That's an option to put on the, running a J-brake allows the driver to take the foot off the accelerator, which the car says, then it kicks in and it slows the vehicle down. And to prevent them putting their foot on the brake. We talk about tractor trailers and stuff, those guys are putting, some of them 500-600 miles a day, so you would think that their weight wear would be a whole lot accelerated compared to a car. Now, can they come through the town and slow down by 50 years? Yes, they can. That's what they have to do in other things, forging bills, enforcement and everything.
Yeah, they come through pretty hot. A lot of the time,
Yeah.
they come through fast.
The other question I have for you, when you able to find out what other localities are for violating of the. But that comes back to the town.
Right, it does. And I know Jim had put together a list for Elizabeth and I to look at with a number of the recommendations for the signage for the town. And Mr. Townsend, I can't remember which jurisdictions. What was it? The town of Gordonsville? That one? I have to go back. I have to look at my email to really dig it up for you, Mr. Townsend.
I'll do one question. I got this question I'm getting out here. The XYZ truck comes down from here, blows through the, they get hold of this ticket. I made the first time you want to repeat Is it the same, is it gonna be the same, fine every time, or did that, was second or third include?
I think it was $100. But I can't.
Is it legal, is it legal to increase the fine for repeat violators?
If the statute lets you do that. If the statute doesn't, then you've got a general statute for misdemeanor fine violation, town code, and you have to stick with that.
Okay, so I could come and get my first ticket, it'd be $100, and if I do it again second time, be $200, third time,
It
$200.
depends on what violation.
It could be $100 every time.
Yeah, I mean, what the state organizing statute says about particular violation. I know there are some that the more time you do it, the worse it gets for example. Drinking a lot of.
If what I was actually gonna say, Chief, is as much as the Jake breaks are loud, it's that's loud.
Yeah.
And so I don't think when they play the music, they slow down. I'm being so, in other words, it's not a help. When I, again, as somebody who's paying attention these days, and I've lived near where there's some hills, that is much more of a problem than the Jake breaks is. I mean, not that particular person, but there's been stuff where I'm in my house and I think, are we having an earthquake? I mean, the level of sound. So that's already something you can take care of, right? That's already there.
We're already working.
Well, spring has sprung, and someone, truck drove down today through the town, and we had a full, huge, system of speakers, blaring out to me, the orange truck. Yeah. So, anyway.
Well, and my point too is I'm actually not. I don't know if I've ever made a noise, and I'm actually not making a noise complaint. I'm more making an observation for the town in the sense that we've talked about other issues, but I haven't called for making a noise complaint. And I would say we did run into that issue as a town some years ago where we did have to deal with noise, and there are aspects of it we just need to be wise. It's all, and that's easy to hear. The Jake Brady issue again, I just want to make sure that a truck is not limited to be safe. Like, can they appeal and say, hey, I had to do it that time?
Yeah.
But I had to do it at that moment.
Because there was a child in the room.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Absolutely.
That's sort of like great, when that happened, now you don't have a break, so.
Right.
I have to do that, it's not.
Just what you said right there, that it's an off-road break. So if I'm coming down in the town from Henry County, one of the tankers that's carrying 2,000 gallons of water, I'm not stopping that truck on that side. So the auxiliary brake kicks in as soon as I let off the accelerator. And then as I move to the brake, I get extra power, but it keeps me from making my brake spongy and getting them hot. And that's what the brake is for. And they're on everything. So if we're gonna pass this, we're gonna have to have an exemption.
Yeah.
If you make an exemption for
Emergency vehicle.
because I trust the ladder trucks can be all town for loud gates on.
Emergency.
Well, I think the court come to your house. The people who are using it. Because I'm putting them in.
Let's finish up what Chief had. Okay. That's all I had, just for some consideration on the, Jake Brake signs. Alyssa, did we get that ordinance number?
I'm not in.
When that gets taken care of, did you go and send it to us?
Yes, sir.
I think that's the only part we're missing right now. We've been giving people warnings on the noise
Okay.
at this point, which is working out pretty good, but there's still some of them that haven't gotten this. Anyway, Mayor, I'm sorry, to take so long. Questions for Chief?
Okay, well,
Stats are on the back here. Anybody has any questions with that?
Thank you. Thank you to all the officers.
Let's get over to our next sheet.
Man, cash numbers, things, we're working and some numbers. working on a report from 2025. One to show the number of calls, there you go. And then, also a breakdown of the number of calls that we did respond to that would have been ours had it not been for the county putting in the station up the street. Hopefully we'll have that ready for you on April, and I'll just break down the percentages to show you. Along with that, we did have a meeting with Chief Bucket from Albemarle County, to work on the response area that we have and see if there was any way to extend it or what the plan was up the street. Right now, it is what it is, and we'll stay with the small response area that we do have. As far as Fluvanna County, we are meeting with county chiefs and their board of supervisor members. There is discussion of a rescue station, which will have an ambulance at Kids Dairy Road, right there near the Tapscat property. So we'll add an ambulance to this end of Fluvanna County. And then we would, us, as far as Scottsville Fire and Fluvanna Fire would be the companies that would be responding to that area like we do now. So that meeting is coming. I'll keep you apprised on any information that comes out of that. And if it is going to cause any further calls, we are working with them on responses in the town. Up until the new CAD system was put in, which is the new radio system, a couple of years ago, Fluvanna was on any major incident within the town. Right now, they're not, and we have to request it, and it's a whole delay in the process. So we're working with the 911 center to get that done, and that's been a process, but we are working on that just to add more companies to responses in the town to keep everybody safe. We did have 2 gas leaks this month. One at Doug Maytag, which was an actual gas leak, had a line on furnace that was leaking and was filling the building with propane. With that actual event that shut it down and mechanical repairs made to it. And then we had one today at the church. It seems to be the pop off valve on the back of the church is causing a problem. So we may have to work with a company on moving the vent system or that pop off valve on the back of the church. But it was checked, everybody was safe, all the kids were happy to see the fire truck. So it was good.
Was that the one that was on Sunday?
No, that was a couple Saturdays ago. It was like the first Saturday in March. This one was just a mustard smell. There's no gas. We went down and checked it when we called. Took the monitoring. July 4th, Chief had a meeting, all the chiefs in the area, and then the surrounding areas that will be involved on PD for 4th of July fireworks and parade. We started that process and had a very productive meeting, which actually produced the second meeting that we'll be having 23rd, on command staff and major events that would happen potentially that day. And then our work session group is actually meeting this Thursday. No real updates out of that, but for the ops group, we're meeting this Thursday. And hopefully, I would think April, maybe May at the latest, we would have a rough draft before we go over for major operations within the county. And unless you have any questions, that's all I got.
Any questions for the chief?
Thank you.
Now that snow removal part will go into that all hazards.
I don't know if we need to prove that as a tap, we could just get you.
Well, so the all hazards, that snow removal, all hazards will go into that plan. Okay. And then we'll bring it back.
Oh,
council.
Yeah, it's good.
For all that.
All right. Yes.
That's it.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Chief, I have a question. So, that snow ordinance, that draft goes over to public safety or that, but, also it gets rolled into the existing ordinance, is that correct?
I think that's what we're gonna have to talk about as a work group on Thursday is determine, so my recommendation would be that the all hazard plan, be the street closures and things like that, much like Whitman had said. So we'll have three levels of response that are recommended. in that all hazards, now you're talking about the street stuff, the street clearing, right? Not the road clearing, but the sidewalk. That would still have to go into the ordinance for that, and that would probably just be ordinance. So the ordinance would have to be, I guess, tweaked up, and then all hazards will go with all hazards plan that work for you. So it's two different things. That's the way you understood it?
Yeah, well, actually three, but the process, is one thing, but yeah, the street and sidewalks are two separate. That's it.
Good. Mr. Bowling, good to have you with us.
Good to be here.
Thanks.
I've been doing too many FOIA requests recently, and I got Elizabeth's email from the FOIA Advisory Council. I think that's probably a help, I hope. And I think that's straightened out. And I've been helping out with tax collection. I'm trying to give Elizabeth some tips on the statutory tips that will help collect those taxes. And she's been a big help in that profession too, which I really appreciate. I want to tell you that. Tax collection is tough. Not an easy job, but I feel like that we have to plug away at. I sent you a letter on how to advertise zoning, where you have an amendment to the zoning map. I think that's hopefully I cleared that up. That's good for everybody to visit every once in a while, because you really don't have many amendments to the zoning all that often. So it's not something that everybody's really a little top of their hand to know what to do. I wrote, actually, I wanted to remind Kathy, because I will come to your recommendation. And I send you letters periodically, and I keep my mind. The only way town council can act is only one way to do it. And that's you have to have a motion. And it has to be properly seconded. Then it has to be voted on by members of the president, and it has to be a quorum present. And it has to pass by a minority vote. And if you haven't done that, town council had that. And I think that's important now, especially because we're struggling to try to get the minute caught up, so you don't have a record of that. And you also stopped recording your meetings, so you don't have a record of it. So if you don't keep track of these motions by having them in writing, it doesn't have to be fancy. It should never be more than a page. Most of them can be a couple of sentences. And the most important thing on the motion is who made the motion, what it was, who seconded, and then what the vote was. And listed out all the members that were voted, and can be kept in a file somewhere, both electronically and a physical file. And you got a record of it. So people will know what's going on 8 months from now. But I want to bring that into your attention again. And sometimes it's difficult to do, I know that. Something comes up in a meeting and you got to act, and that. But it's important to get your paperwork in order on that regard and having a record of what you did.
Have you had some recent concerns about our meetings and making motions and stuff? Or is this just a reminder?
Well, I think this is a very recurring issue, because it's easy in the spur of the moment to have sitting around a table and everybody seems to agree, and you just go to the next matter. But until you have a vote, if council wants to act on that, or they haven't acted until they have a motion and it's properly seconded, and then they vote for it.
Mr. Gold, I just wanted to add that you'll see at the back of your packet the most recent minutes meeting minutes, and you'll see that any motion that was made is properly recorded by votes and who
That's
made the
great.
motion and
That's exactly
seconded.
what I'm talking about.
So we're on the same page. We're trying to move in that direction.
And we are actually recording.
Yes, we are recording.
Oh, good.
So all of your concerns are being met.
But pain too.
Yes.
But I mean, it takes time, but it's there. And
I've noticed that we quite often needed somebody who was tech savvy. I think you're a good person for that. I just think that we don't have tech support anymore, and so it's important that we have people that know how to make that happen.
Thank you, sir.
And thankful that it's not.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, it's related to what you were saying, Jim, or maybe Elizabeth, are we getting these business taxes and the meals taxes? Is that being successful? Are they finally, they being contacted? Are we getting the money in?
I'll let Elizabeth stick to that.
Oh,
Is that a segue into me, sorry?
well, no, but you could say that. I wasn't sure, but I know you had some ideas about how to go ahead and get these things, but I just wonder if it's being successful.
Yeah, but I can give that idea, but the tax, the treasurer.
Okay, so, okay, you could put that on you.
Mayor, are you ready for me to talk?
Everyone. You on the second half of the show, or do you want to?
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor. I'll give a brief, administrative report on staffing, finance facilities and farmers market preparations. So the town clerk recruitment, this has been mentioned earlier this evening, that advertisement for the town clerk position is closed. We received one application from this working Wade. I have reviewed her resume and cover letter, and I'm forwarding her as a candidate, for council's consideration. So that will come before council, at the next meeting, and we could, schedule a closed session. The next meeting to interview, for you all to interview and discuss the candidate.
Can I ask a question? Is this for a part-time position only, or is this?
No,
Oh, this is for that, okay.
We had also talked about a part-time position, but then a couple of meetings ago,
We hadn't had it.
Oh, good,
we started
good. Yeah, no.
to have full-time, so we just changed the full-time.
Right, and was there only, where was it advertised? I know it was up on the bulletin
It
board.
was advertised on both VML and on our bulletin board physically downstairs and our website.
But you didn't go to like, Indeed or Monster.com, or, I just wondered why we don't have.
No, I did not. The last time I saw a bill to, advertise on the Indeed or Monster was $2,300.
Oh, okay.
Being
So it's the same money.
Yes, you know.
But,
What is that?
it's good.
Digitally. Okay,
Okay.
I gotcha.
They're the ones that like produce the Bibles.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to that meeting with them, or was it a workshop or
I'm
something?
not sure what meeting that you're referring to, but yes, I have been to the small town.
Yeah.
Meeting that was last year in Fargo.
Okay.
Next up, let me just confer really quickly with the attorney.
We'll just see.
All right, so, tax collection, one of our businesses, I initiated a restraint action against the business through their bank. And that is when we may claim, through banks to take the money that they owe us. Unfortunately, I did hear back from the bank and there were no funds available. I also issued an additional tax lien and demand for payment last week, and will continue to monitor and pursue collection efforts. I know, the chief also was helpful, as he has been several times, every time that we got a payment from this company. They reached out and made a payment, and secured it with the chief on Friday, which we've already gotten a deposit. It's a drop, literally a drop in the bucket of what they owe. Farmers market, staff met with the new farmers market manager, Kathy Woods, which is in the, audience tonight to discuss plans for the 2026 season. We coordinated with Chief, firstly to remove the old farmers market sign. I'll just point out that those chief do not have the tall ladders to access those high places. So, anyway, we had a coordinated outside assistance to get that scheduled, so thank you, Chief, firstly, for helping with that.
I've also updated the farmer's market handbook. When we met, the three of us last week, we talked about the handbook and, refining the vendor application and then, calculating, the document to us with the proposed table layout and fee structure for the upcoming season. We are getting applications in for vendors. The county will squeeze, maybe, I'm not sure. Here. Hey, we're there, asked me to, but, at the end here. The flag replacement and American flag in the village replaced one that was damaged during the, recent winter storms. So, anyway, so that's been done. It is, for those that wonder, it is a US made flag. Every piece of what they made is made here in the US. So I ordered two actually, for next time, so we can have one.
It's starting to seem like a metaphor. I'm just real glad.
So then the, also facility inspection of winter storms. From this window, we can look out and see where the HVAC systems have been knocked off their platforms from the ice. We've collected different, ice stands, I guess. Maybe that's not the correct term, but the, fuses that are supposed to, there. So there's plastic and metal ones they've been damaged, so a lot of the plastic ones have now fallen off. But when the gentleman was out here fixing repairing the HVAC systems for the apartments, he looked back and he said he was able to see that our system also was knocked off the platform. So, we've gotten three, bids to have that, fixed. We just basically lifted, there's nothing wrong with the system. It's it just needs to be put back on, the platform. And, also, I think there's a set of minutes from the previous, meeting for your review and then, last for your approval next week. Jan and I, and Mr. Fuller attended the recent Army Corps of Engineers site visit last week when it was really cold and rainy. Well, since today was so nice. But anyway, so we were out there, well, at least I was for several hours. But anyway, the team reviewed the weather wall, the pump house, the emergency alarm system. I'm not sure about the correct terminology, but the internal gates and sleeves. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Carter.
Overall, they indicated that the visit went well, and the next formal inspection is scheduled, please correct me if I'm wrong, in 2028.
That will be, yeah.
Every 5 years, they do an inspection, and then every year they do a site visit. And that's what, this past, last week's was the site visit. They did ask about, the levee wall, and we were telling them that, fingers crossed that we are getting funding from Albemarle County, so they were happy to hear about that. Did you want to add anything?
I think you got it all. The one thing I'll add to the follow up to that was the report should be coming out probably in a couple of months. Someone between now and a year from now. They'll also get to us. But also BM is changing their hierarchy. So we'll have a new BM representative who will be coming by on the 25th of this month. For just a quick thought is right.
And I did offer to send photographs if we do get the funding and the levee wall is repaired. The Corps of Engineers engineer indicated that she would like and appreciate pictures after the work's been done. Signage, I think she just talked about this, of the noise and the engine braking. I asked Jan to finish, 3 different prices and what the sign would look like, so you all would have a chance to vote on the one that you wanted. And then the Newtown website, we have initiated the process for the Newtown website. They've already started uploading or downloading, I'm not sure the correct term, to take the information that's on our existing website off, and I believe what is their schedule. It takes me several weeks to do it.
Yes, but we right now are the only people on their job list
So they're able to expedite it for us. So really, we're pretty lucky. Let's see, what else?
But I don't know if I got the full answer, but go back to the business tax and the meals tax. So we had about last meeting, there were about 9 or 10 businesses were behind. Are we caught up now fully that everybody's up to date with everything?
No, I wouldn't say that.
How many are we missing? I mean, I just roughly. And
Yeah, I think significantly less than where we were in the beginning. We've been acting,
okay.
working really hard, but yeah, so
I
I'd
wouldn't
say
know how much we're missing in that.
we're down to like a handful.
Okay, good. And have you had the summons? Have you had the summons anything? We were talking about summoning.
I have a meeting actually tomorrow.
Good, good. And the other question I have is the restaurant that closed, is there a payment plan for that restaurant?
I do not know, I haven't heard specifically from that.
Because they closed, I think they closed it. I think they have another place and I think there needs to be, just paying, a couple thousand a month until they close it, but I don't think they should give up just because they closed.
It's been being off. Yeah.
Oh, good, good, okay. As long as they're being responsible.
Yes, yes, sir.
What you see online, he posted that they didn't pay their employees, so you guys all
Yeah, I believe that. So
I mean, even the company.
they have their problems, they have their problems, that's for sure.
Not free of paying the taxes that they owe. It's
Yeah.
just, we're almost like a pass through. It's not
Yeah.
our money, it's the state of Virginia's money.
All right, okay.
So, and I don't know.
Well, it is your money, part of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, when they collect the money, it's,
They collected this, it's called a trust tax, because they're a fiduciary, the business is in a fiduciary relationship and a fiduciary duty to remit those funds. to
Yeah.
The county, the taxes.
Yeah, all right. But I guess the only reason where you could not get it is if they went bankrupt, say like Rite Aid.
Yeah, that's what it's-
Really?
Yeah,
that's not.
Really?
If they're bankruptcy, it does not matter, they still owe us that money.
Good.
So.
that doesn't mean you're gonna collect it.
Yeah.
Right. But it's still owed, it's not right.
Okay, we'll get back to the staff. a little bit.
Any ARB reporting?
Name was to give some further down.
Any planning commission updates?
That's kind of an interesting and complicated question. This past meeting, I'm not exactly sure what was going on. There's no agenda. We didn't receive an agenda. There was no motion to accept the agenda. There was, when we closed, there was no vote. I think it's kind of almost like a perfectly illegal meeting. So you can put that aside and say, we went through the comp plan page by page. And it turns out that, one of the council members or commission members was interested in knowing more about the permissions we got from the kids. So I'm following up with the school to get releases and things like that, so that we know for sure that there is a signature for each one. So that's tedious yet very important, so we're gonna go forward with that. I really honestly don't know what to say about the planning.
When I was every year, I don't know, what happened, every year you're supposed to have an organizational meeting, just like we do, to determine when you want to meet, who's the chair, who's the vice chair, and, to talk about those kind of things that
Yeah,
I think you're probably due for. I think this is the beginning of the year, it's like ours is to kind of say, okay, maybe the chair doesn't want to do it. We have a vice chair, and, just kind of get everything squared.
yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think there's a question about my rights to vote.
Oh, really? Really? You can't be sure.
I understand that, but, if there's a question about that, I need to maybe have some more conversations with people, but it was not a very satisfactory meeting. And no, and, the chair would want to do everything off. And wasn't answering questions, so I interject, he said, yeah,
So since I was at the meeting as well, the reason why she wasn't trying to do anything off the record, it was the planning commission was talking specifically about the comp plan. So when I went to call the vote, I recall that I did not think that you as a town councilor, as a liaison, could vote. So I stopped and I was
this
like.
was the second vote that we did.
Yes, the first, because I didn't remember. And then the second time when I went to call your name, like, I don't think you can vote. So that's why I stopped, because I did not want to mess up some type of vote and then get thrown out later. That was.
Well, I think it's important.
So let me finish, please. So then there was already a quorum. They continued to vote, and I even said, can we finish the vote? You'll finish the vote, and then we can discuss whether you can vote or not. That's what Ms. Gill was trying to do, is to finish the meeting and stop the recording, because again, it was for the comp plan, not for deciding whether you could vote or not.
You sound, I mean, what you're saying is completely fine and acceptable. I just didn't have a heads up on that. I didn't understand what was happening. So I think it was important,
So I think,
not to skip me and to vote and then expect me to just know exactly what you're doing.
okay, so I've been trying to explain that. I still don't know.
Well, one thing I will say is, we've always had the practice where the town council person did vote. So the town council person always voted on the planning commission. There was never, so I voted, everybody voted.
You'll find in regs that if I am a voting member, if the town
When I say
decides.
that, it's 1 minute.
Oh, sorry.
But there's-
The Virginia code, the Virginia code,
It's both.
the Virginia
So,
code.
can we have a question here?
Yeah, we're trying to I think that's great.
What
What do you do?
I would also say is by practice, so the town councilor on the planning commission always voted. The only thing that there was, the constraint was that the person who's the liaison isn't the chair. That's the only thing it was, but they always voted. So there was always a voting. There was never an issue about that voting. And if you were told otherwise by somebody, that's simply inaccurate.
See, I've heard two different things. I've heard that yes, you did vote, and you don't vote.
No, what I'm saying is, they're always, if you were told otherwise, that's inaccurate. What I'm saying is, the record has always been, people have always voted, and they've been able to vote.
Bill was head of planning commission and I served on it. I voted.
That's because you could.
Yeah, and there is.
But maybe-
I wasn't convinced on from the county.
What, you know what,
That's what I'm saying.
Well, there's a copy up there that says that if the locality does not want that person to vote, that they can make that part of their, but it has to.
How did it work?
But it hasn't been yet. Yeah, no. Okay.
the thing is, I think you don't have to have a liaison. Now, so you could have 5 people who are just independent and not a liaison at all. But you don't have to be out there.
You do for the planning commission and the ARP have always been, those are chartered, and there always has been a town liaison.
Yeah. Traditionally,
Well, it was a very awkward question and no one really knew what to say or what to do. And I think the whole meeting should be scrapped. There's no agenda. There's no agenda online. I don't know what happened to the agenda, but it was never.
The agenda was sent and posted. I do know that. It was
Posted online? Oh, you mean on the board?
Yes, and left on the front desk. I do know that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we didn't get packets or anything. It was just, I mean, there was no agenda. But it was because you weren't there. Sorry. Sorry. I was saying, kind of next time, just that, you know, we really appreciate that we can depend on you. Yes.
Okay.
We talked about the comp plan.
Don't talk about.
And there's not much
That's-
to
that's-
Thank you very much.
We call it for
Would you just back that?
No, actually, I'm going through the code right now, and making sure that we fit all the state requirements as a last, you know, chapter. So I think it's complete.
Yeah.
I would have to ask them again one more time, because we had some changes to things for
Oh.
Maggie, which we very so, but there's only the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You could have thrown something, so that.
Okay, let's,
I think it puts.
move on, resolution.
All right,
Yeah, because you were certain from that.
okay, well, just a couple things, we went over, we're going over the Caldwell Fund, and I don't know if you saw that, the notes, but anyway, the FOIA, we did get the FOIA, it actually came to me, to come to Scotts who requested it, but I shared it with them. And we got most of the information that we need. And he's gonna kind of do a flow of how it worked. It's been used 11 times. 6 things were taken out and 5 times was put back in the last 13 years. So it's only been used sporadically and not consistently. So we're gonna look at the patterns about how much left and how much came back and get some sort of understanding of the protocol for that. But basically, it's been used for emergencies, but it's being paid back off and on. So that we're going to get a take on that. But anyway, that's underway. We got in fact, it's only been used 11 times, but there's $600,000 off and on, in and out. So sure.
Because we got, the town administrator gave us a report like that.
Right.
A couple of months ago.
Right, we got it, and we're gonna go and look for, well, one of the things we don't know is the balance. We know that they were taken out, put back in, but what was the balance? There was no information.
I guess I'm wondering, I'm unclear of what role government services has over that.
Oh, they don't have any role, they're just studies, they're just researching, they're looking into it.
They enjoy reading it.
No, but I think you want to recommend a policy on the call firm too, because I don't think, and they already did it, I don't think that's real firm. When you were here too, there doesn't seem to be any regulations or stipulations about how to use it. Because it's not a donation, I don't think. Maybe it should be a donation. So that's part of the problems. It's different than that other fund, which is a savings account. It's a fund itself, and I'm not sure what that means, but it's not like the Bowers gave a donation to Canal Basin Square specifically for that purpose. I don't know if the Caldwell's we're gonna try to find it.
It's not restricted. There were no restrictions on
On the Caldwell fund, so there's no
way to get it. It's not like.
Right.
So that's where it's confusing. The issue.
There may not be, but there was.
It was money given to the town, and when, at the time it was given to the town.
So you remember that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
so then, okay, wow. So there's no restrictions.
Now, was it just when they gave money to town, you have to say?
I really hate.
So let me ask, then, if it's just based on precedent, whether they take it out or give it back. Because there were 4 different town administrators.
It's always been used for, emergency situations.
Right.
It hadn't been used for.
Right.
I don't think it should.
Office
Yeah.
supplies. And
Some
payroll.
whatever.
Yeah.
That's how it's been looked at.
Right.
That's why they've always, through the years, town council made a commitment to pay it back when we get.
Right, but that's what I think we seem to be interested in having some sort of guidelines for 20 years from today. Showing says, let's use the call funds. We have.
Yeah.
Right. Right, and that's what.
Looking ahead, I'll just.
But that's the.
Well, I have a question for you, so at this point, I understand y'all been really focusing on Caldwell Fund. Does the government services committee have any recommendation or any advice for the town council on what to do? Because I mean, it's just that all the information is there. So I'm wondering, I'm not trying to stand this, but the town is not operating for $1 million. It's not like we got all that money out there and, you know, I could understand if we were running on a multi-million-dollar budget. We're running on a small amount of money. And my biggest concern is if it feels like, from what I've gathered, that is micromanagement of the town funding. As the chief said earlier, some of the processes the police department needs to make, they're gonna be reimbursed. As a matter of fact, I thought I saw it right here. On page number 2, it says permitted uses. Reimbursable grants and one-time reimbursement to pay upfront costs for grants and other reimbursable expenditures when there's a balance agreement. So I mean, everything is there. So I guess my question for you is, what is your biggest concern with the fund, the Caldwell fund? Do you feel like someone is dipping in there, not putting
Yeah, well,
stuff like what?
I think my big, I don't know, anybody else, my biggest concern is that there should be some rules about it. So it's just not just used.
So you say the government does, maybe want to set rules for the town.
No, that's, we want. I think we're right.
All I wanted to make sure of,
He's not
it's not used as it has been recently, payroll and that kind of thing. It's not an emergency.
Never
Town
mind.
savings account should have done that. As far as strategic, it should come out of town savings. All they need to do is set a motion to pay it and come out of the money. Because it has to be voted on by council, take money out of the savings or all.
Yeah.
Either one.
Mr. Mayor, can I call?
It can't be just an automatic.
What's your call, Jimmy?
Anyway, to answer your question, we're trying to, I mean, if we don't want to use the total fund, maybe we should just roll it over and say it's all one fund now for the town. But I think it was designed in those, but by those last four town administrators used it to pay special things and then pay it back for the most part. So
That's pretty much what it always has been.
yeah, so we're just trying to get some guidance. And so anyway, that's one of the things.
Okay, just council, no one else. Do you all agree that the Caldwell fund is fine? And that there was no problem, that it was just an accidental use, okay?
Well, no,
This is not us trying to abuse the fund.
No, I know, but it's a preventive thing in the future, that's what it's about. That's all of this.
Yeah, an agenda item later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, let me go over the rest of the, government service, we got that a lot of things out of it. We work closely with the chief about the snow removal of the streets. And I think we got a pretty good policy, or he's got a good policy, and we kind of just tweaked it a little bit, but it's, basically we're expanding it a little bit to not just do Valley Street, but, to do Route 6 as well, you know, Main Street. So, in the future, but the snow removal policy, I think it's pretty good, and it's got some different, you'll see what, I think that's in there too. We looked at, emergency weather, protocol, you know, how to deal with that if there's a, you know, as a town. And we got some suggestions for that. And then the sidewalk one is the most confusing, and it was suggested that, you know, that's really hard to monitor and to make work. So it's actually suggested to get rid of that one and just have the town use the snow blower and do as much as they can, because there was a lot. You can't demand residents do their best, do their show in front of their businesses, because they're just residents. So anyway, that was the problem. So we haven't figured that one out yet, but the sidewalks, we want to do that. And then the other thing we went over, and I think I wrote a little bit about that confusion about the accounting. And with the accounting service, it would be good to see if they will come in and either do some training or a session with us and to kind of actively ask questions. I don't know, did anybody look at that profit loss statement at all, besides a few people I did? There was a lot of questions about that. And so it'd be good if they're gonna use that, to know more about them and to kind of get some information about how it's work, because it's confusing. So anyway, but that was the suggestion. Did you think that we could get them in there to have a meet with us, the town council?
With questions.
I can do that.
From work through the trade, we can get answers.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we got some, okay, we could,
We got something at homestead in here, and nobody has done anything conflict with, I don't want to keep bringing people in, if they don't have stuff. That's
You're right.
Talking about it, we saw that.
yeah, so just try to do that by email and then just share it, right? Yeah, well, I mean, there was a couple of things in there, it's just like they were in wrong categories, so they had $263,000 of uncategorized funds, and so it's really confusing.
That was because it's divided. There were certain, that's what I've been saying since I started here, there were actually no entries into QuickBooks.
Okay,
So that's what I've been working on, is hundreds of trying to reconcile the entries.
okay, and so what's the solution to that?
To go back, go through each one of them, try to figure out what the dollars.
So are we gonna do it, they got,
No, I.
oh, really?
That's the kind of thing that I can help you with. I want to go, you know,
It'd be good, because
I want you to know that I can go through those. That'd be great,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Just it'd be good to know exactly what these costs are, what we spend here, and, okay, that's good, so it's just a matter of putting it in. Okay, so they won't even know that.
We provide them the information, they've sent me a document that says they need to know what this entry is.
Okay,
And I go through it,
okay.
you know, I wouldn't say all the time, because I don't do it all the time, but, you can, I do. You're like, what, I recognize that charge, because I'm just sitting there, I don't say that. It's just, you know,
How much do we pay them per month, or per year, or whatever?
you can see the $50.
A month?
I believe it's a year.
$30?
$30.
Oh, that can be- I know, you don't have it off your head.
Okay, I don't remember.
That'd be great, $350 per year, we can't beat that, that
Parks and Rec.
But,
All right, this is.
we didn't meet, but, one of the questions, I guess, I've often talked with Gregor, but is, do we have a company doing, trimming there? There's a lot of branches down everywhere. Did you do that, or do we get Barker to do that? At the park, the big nature area.
He's been up there training,
Oh, so he's doing that?
yes,
Oh, okay,
because that's part of.
okay, that's what I was saying, okay. Okay, that would have been good to let us know, communicate with us about it. Is he gonna?
Yes. It's telling you that it's what he's been trying to stop there, covering that dam. The dam, yes, that's why I said that, you know, yes,
Time to get ready for the inspection.
Oh, okay, oh, good.
Okay, next.
Good. Is he gonna clean up the stuff?
he's looking at bringing a chipper.
Oh, okay.
And the price of.
I know.
Will you have a chipper?
Do I have chicken?
Yes. Okay, well, I guess you didn't have to do it. Okay, sorry.
Does the treasurer have?
That's still gonna cost.
No, Chair, I'll look for it.
Okay, it's very well for you.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm more close to
We could ask.
Yeah, you
Does the
said.
treasurer have anything else that she would like to add at this time?
No, sir, I covered it.
Does the events coordinator have anything he wishes to speak about?
No, sir.
Oh, do we still have an event?
Not a coordinator, just, he's kind of like the. He's a appointment.
And, the calendar of the 4th of July, they all handle themselves.
Yes, yeah.
I'm going to,
If they need something, they have reached out to me. And I have asked about, cutting checks and things like that. Canal-based tourist runs exchange with commerce.
Okay, as long as it's not a huge tax.
Yeah, because it was just.
So the event.
Yeah.
Somebody said event. Could you listen to me real quick?
yeah, what I was gonna do is, I want you to come up here and sit down.
Yes, sir.
Nobody can stand here and
She's getting ahead.
names from the
Oh,
chambers of town, so. We have a, board of directors meeting for the chamber in the morning and we're on that. I'll get back on there, so.
Sorry to hear that it's not doing well.
Yeah, no, what's wrong with you? You don't have on some antibiotics, he's got one of the better, I think, we're thinking that he's got long COVID. But anyway. You're reporting.
Let's let Kathy have the floor and then, if you have questions, she'll answer.
This is a new market map. I made copies for everybody on, not in sleep, obviously, but, that's what we're looking at. I am doing it different this year because a lot of the market, vendors were complaining that the spaces in the middle were so little. And they were literally cut in half. You can hardly put a hard tape there. So the middle spaces are gonna be 10 by 10 and the eights are gonna be 12 by 12. I'm gonna have a lot more tents to accommodate
Outside.
yeah, around the perimeter. We're getting to a really late start at this and I'm having a hard time getting the town nor me have any information, no old applications, nothing. The only thing that we had available was a list of emails. Yes, from vendors for last year. I look at those emails and I don't even know who they are. I sent an email, an introduction email out to everybody. And I, you know, the regulars like that I knew from when we were at the market, you know, they responded back to me.
Yeah.
I've actually even got on the winery Facebook and said, hey, do you want to be a vendor at the market? And I did get one person. Okay, you know, so this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to fill in the spots here. Originally, and I think this is going to answer your question, Molly. When Elizabeth and I talked, and we talked about the food tax and how the taco lady, okay, wasn't paying the food tax. We kind of decided we're just not gonna have any food except for that food trucks, okay? Since then, and this is for y'all's information too, I have actually talked to the lady. I called her because, she called me and left a message. I called her back and I, and not in so many words, I told her the town is really mad at her. I hate that.
I know she feels so great.
And she does, she's not really mad.
She wanted to come here and apologize.
She did. But dude, how the hell did we find out stuff? I mean, I still that person one time because in the whole thing knows that.
Well, the thing is that I didn't know that you could talk to her.
Oh, no, I didn't know that. Anyway, long story short, apparently, Emily and, Caitlin never explained to people that were actually making food from site that they needed to pay taxes to the town. Yeah, not their fault.
And I think some people thought that Taco was doing a nice thing for the community. And I think they let them slide because of that.
Well, now we're sliding.
Absolutely not.
And I also talked to her, she does buy donation, okay? And I talked to her about perhaps, and I think this would benefit her as well, to start charging for her tacos. You know, that way, if she has square, charge, I don't know, $5 for her, I mean, they're small, they're very good, by the way. You know, 3 tacos for $5, she does the taxes, she, you know, fills out the tax form and gets the tax, which she's very, very willing to do.
Yes.
Okay, so after I spoke to her, and because I'm having a hard time getting food trucks, T&M will not be at the market this year, they told me the other day, at all, okay? So I'm scrambling, trying to, you know, get food trucks to maybe come on the 1st and the 3rd and whatever. So, so that's changed, okay, so she'll be there. I'm gonna talk to her. She has all of her paperwork. I've been researching what exactly it is that she has to have. She has to have some, what's it called, Elizabeth, a temporary food establishment license. I talked to the health department and now, and they want me to fill out this coordinator application, you know, for a temporary event, all right? So I have to fill this out. I have to list the vendors that are going to be at the market. I have to tell them if we have potable water there, or if the people are going to bring their own water. If they're not bringing their own water, I have to do a water test and send it in.
Yeah, nobody does water, right?
Well, you know, the taco lady, she has to have access to water. I mean, you have to.
Oh, the pump, right, I guess.
Yeah. So she doesn't bring her own water in. And we have to do this, you know, for the winery. I have to go and get a water test kit and take a water test of the water to make sure she has appropriate water to clean her stuff, right? Anyway, don't worry about all that, but that's just something I gotta do. But anyway, so that's what is happening. The prices are going up. If you want to pass this around, I sent this letter out to everybody. I go to the Farmville market with my soaps and stuff. They charge $3.75 per vendor. It doesn't matter if they're in a middle bay or a side bay or a tent. And that only equals out to $11 a market, which is nothing, really, you know? And at first, I've had a couple of people balk at it, and you want to pass that around. I've had a couple of people call me, oh, you know, $3.75, that's really a lot, and it sounds like a lot until you break it down in by market, you know?
You said $3.75. No,
$300.
Yeah, $3.75, you work a whole entire season, which I think is about
Oh,
46 markets. And the 4th of July falls on a Saturday this year. So Elizabeth and I talked about just having a regular market. It's kind of up in the air whether, you know, they want to stay, if we want to charge them a little bit additional fee, you know, they want to stay. But you know, that's kind of a perk for the seasonal vendors because, you know, they're getting a 4th of July market that they normally have to pay for because the chamber has traditionally always run that market. But Elizabeth and I talked about it, and since it's on a Saturday this year, we'll just run it as a regular market.
It might be good that we get it out, because they want to have.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of the streets being closed off and stuff.
Oh, that's never their problem.
Yeah, $2 at the end of the table. We could say.
Yeah, look, when they're able to get out, cheap and cheap.
Here we go. You're not listening to me. Okay, I'm gonna try to read it. Make blood. Yeah.
But in amount of traffic that's on the fourth, you're asking a lot.
Yes. Well, I've done the market for years and that's never been a problem. There's very few vendors that want to leave. Like Jerry, the vegetable guy in the corner, he never stays all day. You know, he'll come in the morning and then he leaves like at 1 o'clock. All right. So it's after the parade. It's kind of during that time where people have, you know, come to do the parade and then they leave and then they kind of come back. You know, we move in, the wineries move in at 1. And, you know, the food trucks move in around 1, I guess. So, you know, I have never had a problem with it. I mean, we've always stayed all day, but I've never heard Jerry or Bruce or, you know, any of the people that stay half a day have a problem when you leave. They have to be there in the morning, of course, you know, early before the road closes. So I think we've always started the market like it. I don't know. I think we have told them that they have to be there by 8. Because don't you start closing the road at 8:30 or?
Road will be closed, 8:40.
Yes, sir.
Write that down.
8:40, yes, okay, I knew it was 8 something,
8:40.
but,
So we had a couple months to figure it out.
yeah, we'll figure it out.
I don't know. You said it's 375 for the whole season. What if you have a vendor that wants to come in on one?
And actually, that's on that paper.
Well, I haven't figured out.
And that's okay. I should have made a copy of that too, if my letter.
Is that $20?
I didn't want to worry.
25.
Yeah, 25, we're doing 25, that's yeah.
So what is your plan if a vendor shows up and they haven't made a payment or anything?
You'd be hoping to
You
work
mean the,
Somebody comes and sets up, and they're set up.
oh, they're gonna pay me that right then, before they get a,
I can't go in.
I'm not gonna make.
She said you're not gonna let me go.
No, I'm saying she's gonna take care of that.
Yeah, I'm not going to, unless they give me, I'm having a problem too getting people to commit to the whole season.
No.
Because it's late in the game, and they've already made plans, doing other markets and what have you. So a lot of them are telling me, oh, I can only do it on certain days. So what I've asked them to do is to commit to these certain dates, because I can't, I don't know where to put them, unless they tell me I'm gonna be here this day, this day, this day. And in the past, at the markets, if somebody came just on one day, we would put the money in, just. Yes, sir, you can see.
The farms on Irish Road have sold. Scottsville Farm, White Diamond Farm, and Liver's Corner. That whole almost 1,900 acres has sold. Wow. Minimum from Harrisonburg. Purchasing and closing on that somewhere around in the Bay. I would encourage, once they take possession, maybe go out and talk to them.
Oh, that's a good idea.
They certainly have a lot to bring to the table.
Yeah,
Well, I'm trying to get, we have some produce, I'm trying to spread things out, because personally, like it was last year, I think that the produce was clumped together, okay? So I'm trying to kind of spread it out a little bit, because if you walk into the farmer's market and you have quarter tomato in there, right there together. Whose tomato are you gonna buy?
Jared.
Jared.
I don't know, I always find it.
And he didn't even grow them.
I know it doesn't.
And
And I'm telling
very good. Oh, they are. My strategy or my logic is, first of all, I only have 2 light vendors. I don't wanna saturate someone with, 5 soap companies or whatever. I want people to be able to make money, So I'm trying to, yeah, I'm trying to limit.
Ready to live, if she passed around, if you have a good vacation.
That's right here.
What is it? Oh.
I thought, yeah, and that's what we're doing.
Yes, the letter from somewhere. I don't know where it is. Molly probably has.
I love full content.
So, I mean, you said all these are, everybody gets to sell out, no matter where they're located.
Yeah, it's right, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's different prices for the size, and then one or less or something.
They are the expensive one,
Oh, okay,
okay?
I see,
We
okay.
like to say,
Which way it's facing, having,
the tavern would be. The tavern would be here.
Oh, so you do, yeah.
okay, so basically, you'd be walking in this way.
Yes.
But it's not, y'all got to score down, where you can only walk in.
Yes. There's like the banner is right here, and this is the entrance right here.
And those tents are a lot handicapped.
No, sir. We've not dared you that.
We are ADAs.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Oh, they're
Well,
not,
see, like right here, there's 2 spots. The handicap spot is here, and then there's one at the parking spot. But they'll be spread out enough to where that'd be fine. I got, like last year, the manager took 2 of these spots and gave them to Alex. The nonprofit Scottsville Works, Alex right, Alex, no, with
Good
good
work.
work.
Yeah,
We're Charles, it may be that the fish to fit those spots, I don't know, but I don't want anybody in here that's not paying something. And and Elizabeth and I both think that the non-profit should pay something too, actually, like, I think I put, I don't know, I didn't put it on here, but I think, $20 a market, or that's hard, that's nothing. But again,
25, you have on the paper.
but I haven't heard back from Alex either, so,
Yeah.
I don't know, anyway. I'll get it done, it is a tight squeeze, but luckily I've got Elizabeth and I've got Whitney to help me.
It's appreciated, it's taken,
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Patty.
yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you, let's help you.
What's the first day?
It's the first Saturday in April.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you should bring it.
Oh. Mr. Mayor, Nancy can get a scan report, she says.
Okay, all right, so I can go get my lady dinner and go.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. I love you.
All right, we've got a couple minutes to get Nancy up online. There's some words.
Are you unmuted, Miss Nancy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead. Floor is yours.
Okay. So first and foremost, I want to apologize for not being there in person, but I got hit with allergies over the weekend and I've been sneezing a whole lot. So I apologize for that. Now, for SCAN, we are having a very successful First Fridays. And what you should be excited about, and I am, is that a lot of people who come to the gallery walk across the street and they're eating at the Red Rose Pub. Red Rose Pub appreciates it, and I think it's a wonderful thing. Now, this Saturday from noon to 2, we're holding our first Volunteer Appreciation Day at the gallery, and you're all invited to attend. And then on Saturday, the 28th, Michael Clem and Rusty Spidell will be performing at the theater. They're more singer-songwriter and very big in Charlottesville. So doors open at 6:30, shows at 7. Advance tickets are 15, and at the door they're 20. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Miss Nancy.
Welcome.
All right, the rest of the agenda is set.
Okay. Sorry, committees.
That is something that talk about at the regular meeting that.
We'll schedule our so-called annual meeting on
Yes.
the 23rd.
Yes.
And if anybody has, we'll just change committee, go into the one committee. Let me know what you want to do, and we'll make it happen.
Yes, sir.
Is that, it's regular house committee. Yeah.
And now,
Unless someone else wants to talk anything about his.
they are.
You mean the charter committees?
I'm sorry.
Like the charter, like the government service committee and parks and.
I don't know what he's, any other.
Well, I don't know, but I'd love to have another staff. Another counselor on in some of the committees. Have 2 government services, 2 on parks or whatever, but I think it'd be nice to have more participation in. The only committee I'd like to see, we used to have a beautification maintenance committee, or whatever you call it. It'd be good to have like an advisory committee to keep up with so much. You look around, there's so many things that need to be repaired and fixed and get quotes, and we need a water fountain, we need painting, we need sealing. But so that if that anybody was interested in that was my best top that's coming up. Yeah, but I'm not talking about committee for now. But it'd be good to have that but if we're going to be doing this every month, maybe that's just suffice. If we have a maintenance section every work session, we can talk about some of the priorities that need to be done.
I think that's probably a more realistic.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of committees started and a lot of committees didn't have just.
it is hard, right,
There's a lot of good intention and not a lot of action.
right, and we just don't have the volunteers, you know, so anyway,
You could have a facility maintenance. committee.
what's that?
You could have a facility maintenance committee,
Yeah.
that committee, they would be responsible for
Yeah,
maintenance, cutting grass,
I think that'd be great for that.
repairs and everything. That, all that committee focuses on is that way, up and down.
I think we do.
I
got the people.
I personally feel like that we have certain committees that are looking at everything. I mean, it's way,
Right, I agree,
the spectrum is so broad, it's just,
I agree.
I think there's nothing wrong with having more committees, but if we do add more committees, they need to be more centralized focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that,
And so, earlier, you know, you talking about, the weather and stuff, but that's something that they're both folks that's taking care of, so it's almost some committees are not overstepping, but.
Yeah, we got too many tasks, I got too many tasks.
Well, let's just, in the spirit of going home at some point, committees related to our annual meeting, I believe is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So appointments for councilmen on committees, so.
Yeah,
They
We have to
put away
keep
the-
in mind that the next meeting is also the joint planning commission.
Yeah.
So we're doing all of it.
That shouldn't take long.
Okay, good. For both, there are two.
Alex,
Trying to push this first, and close up and down. I don't know what's
Okay, so we'll come back to committees at the next meeting.
Yeah, so if you have something you just really want to be ahead of, you just know, you have something you want to get away from. All right, what about, ARD?
So do we have any new drafted on this, or is just a revote on the current?
Well, I think when you and I were talking about it, I think, it seems like to me that projects don't need to go be heard between, in front of AOD and then the planning commission and then the town council. That is just really clunky and I think, not necessary.
Mhm.
So this stuff is
This would be in with no SUP.
yes.
Just in regular.
Essentially, ARB functions on its own, council reserves the right to be decisions. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, but it doesn't have to go full council for ARB, we want decision.
So your decisions just are based on architectural features and. Yeah.
And then both the two members, and we have an architect allegedly,
Not every single.
he's used it sometimes.
But are you going to be continuing on with
Hopefully not.
it? Yeah. I look at you and I say, he's got one, you know, I don't know what the plan is. I don't know whether it's 100% necessary or not. You tell me what.
I think it's a code, it was a code thing we're trying to figure it out right now, because the code as far as like Bell reads that ARB, just like we did the last for the house down the Dodgy property, that's currently how it's reading. Is ARB is, and discusses it, and then puts forward the council. Council meets and discusses it, and then votes on it, or doesn't vote on it.
Yeah.
And I think it's inefficient.
I do too.
So, other than that, is there, I think I'm going to pages here, but there's something drafted for that, right? Or do you want us to come up with something for that for the next meeting?
I wanted a discussion to see what. I mean, when I look at this correctly or incorrect. But I looked at and reviewed it, it doesn't seem like the meeting of every project goes before everybody.
Okay, so then the idea would be then to just have a consensus or a vote from council clarifying that rather than changing the code.
Yes.
I think the language in the current ordinance would require what craziness that we're talking about that needs to be changed. Okay?
Okay.
But I haven't, I can't, this wasn't on the agenda, packet, okay? I was not seeing it, so it's,
It's ARB notification law.
well, I know, but the one day is not.
Yeah.
Right, oh, yeah.
So
I can get with Elizabeth and show.
let me,
You know.
let me get in touch with you this week or the 2 weeks before our next meeting, and I'll hack and slash and stuff and send it to you as far as the ordinance.
Sure.
And then you can give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down, and I'll bring a copy of it we can vote on during the
And
meeting.
then a potential amendment may need to take place.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a high school operation.
All right, perfect.
I was kidding. I was kidding.
Unfortunate.
All right.
Yeah.
So, perfect.
Well, our code, our town code is notorious for having no mistakes.
Oh, goodness.
This is the first.
If you have anything else on LP,
Oh,
Yes, Walter was just asking a question.
I could ask about it.
Okay.
Right.
So the LGRT was, the document that we've been trying to get through.
Can I speak to this for a second while you're looking around?
Yes.
If the town administrator or town staff wants to take money out of the LVIP savings account, where they have to come to the council, get approval for that. If the town staff wants to take it out of the Caldwell fund, where they have to, that's go to the council. I think that's pretty straightforward right now, as far as, and Jim was telling us earlier, that fund, despite how we've used it in the past, which I think is responsible and we should continue to do, it's up to the town council on how we use that money. Right now, I don't see any issue with what we have set up.
Well,
That's just my
because all the funders, there's always been a replenished.
But
You don't have one in the LGIP.
here, and other councils here, they will have the discretion.
We
And
need
they
that.
already use that money,
Yeah.
but so use that money how they see fit. I don't see how tying our hands with money that's available to us.
Okay.
Whether we put forward what is it, an MOU memorandum, or understanding of this is how we want to use this.
Yeah.
That's perfect and that's fine. But I want the council to be able to use money when we need money.
all we need to do is know what one's gonna be used for.
Exactly.
You'll
So
never
anyway.
put this down.
I will just second your emotion.
Oh, so let's make it a motion.
I said any emotion.
She's got it recorded already.
Yeah, we won't do that till next week, we can say it, but mom will respect that it is the emotion fives.
I have a question.
Got to fives.
Right now,
I think they are separate.
So good. If didn't have that, you guys wrap that MOU for us, even the document, that doesn't tie our hands financially.
I don't think. I think we're not even working out the logic of the idea.
Okay.
I mean, we could look at it. That's the only way to come out. So that, yeah, I think we can come up with that. You could look at that.
more call.
Okay, so I'm gonna just start talking really loud.
All right.
Okay,
We will try to interrupt.
Okay, so, in one of the handouts here, there is, the printout that shows when buys and sales were done on the LGR. Okay, so that covers,
Okay.
the last 13 years. This has, document has been updated to show the very top one says enter fund. And that was done on 3/6/2026, and that was the $20,000 that Bill did mention to transfer within the fund. So I transferred it from the general fund back to the Caldwell fund, and this is showing you that I did that.
That's great, very good.
Yes. So, and then the other document is the work session draft. This is the third time that we have, looked at this. I did try to make it shorter. I named it because I don't know what else, maybe the other one, general savings fund.
Sure.
And the Caldwell fund, right? I've been
I
trying
think
to
that would be less confusing.
Yes.
So there's, and then the last time that we met, I read some, permitted uses, and you all had said that that sounded more like the Caldwell fund and not the general, so let's reverse them. So in this document on page 2, it talks about, permitted uses and prohibited uses for both the general savings fund and the Caldwell fund. And then on page 3, this is for council to set if you wanted to do so, target balances, if you want to do something like that. For both of them, I'm not sure that you can do that, but it's there, it's an option, that's number 6. And then, Alex was just talking about the approval and use process, that can be found in number 7. That talks about, emergency pathway, football. Again, council action, and then optional delegated emergency authority. If you all would consider, if you want the mayor and town administrator acting jointly to approve emergency withdrawals, from your general savings account or not, you don't have to do that until the section. And then the is replenishment that specifies like how long you have to pay back something. Number 9 is the accounting and reporting. It talks about the Caldwell Municipal Savings Funds, how they'll be maintained. I've been looked up both of the accounts, and they both receive the same amount of, I think it's 3.78%. So I thought maybe one would be higher than the other, but they're both the same. And
Well, I would agree with what Councilor was saying, I mean, it's just that, that ain't given to us. It kind of seems ridiculous that outside agencies will want to tell us how to use the fund or whatever. Time sharing things and the way, one of the things I thought, just an idea is to talk about the optional delegated vote to authority for whatever. I think it would be a good idea if we have a vote situation, whatever. The mayor, town administrator, and the vice mayor, 3 people. If all 3 of them agree on it, we can do that, and then at the next meeting, it'll be brought up and let us know.
yeah,
There you go.
communication
So,
there.
if 3 people can agree on the same thing, I don't see a problem with that.
As long as it's ratified on town council.
Yeah, after the fact. Yeah, so,
I mean, if it's an emergency, it's true emergency, it's true emergency.
well, yeah, like when we have, we needed to make payroll or whatever. What do we do? Instead of having everybody come into a vote meeting, the town administrator, who's also the town treasurer, and the mayor and the vice mayor, if the 3 of them agree, I don't have a problem with that. I think that would be the way to go.
Yep.
I mean,
All right, then I'm gonna do.
I think that's great. Would you like to make a motion about that?
Yes, we can.
Oh, that's right. I'm like, somebody.
We just need to write it down.
Okay, we need to talk more about maintenance. So let's make a motion on your list.
So I think I talked about that earlier, some of the maintenance things that have been going on or that need to be, addressed that is started. Perhaps getting those, the ice can things reinstalled on the building. I know Jan has, been painting some of the curbs again. He took down signs today, so they're getting ready for spring. I will mention that him repainting those has been really effective. I think it was needed. He had great help and, also the lines in the street. I don't know if that's his responsibility or not. I had the same thing because I questioned this, the crosswalks down. Yeah. in town, and, he called me, he called VDOT, and they told him that they were not going to repaint the crosswalks until after they paved the road. And they're not gonna pave the road
Until after the construction.
yes, until they,
Well, what about like the parking spaces?
yes, there's a couple parking spaces that are almost,
Can't see it.
you can't see them, but overall, the other spaces are pretty legible.
Okay.
I think this is what I'm gonna suggest for maintenance issue, or maintenance request.
Okay, I wanted to find out.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
It's just, I want to keep a running log or whatever of what maintenance requests are. Okay, keep in mind, we have one person.
Right.
So we have,
need two people.
we have to look at what the cost is gonna be, you know, how much time it's gonna take, and just the resources. And, you know, decide which ones are gonna rise to the top. Now, the HVAC system, a month ago, I wasn't thinking about that at all, because I didn't know about it. But now that, you know, it's slid off the platform, that's probably, you know, gonna rise to the top, and something that needs to be done. So,
Let me ask you a question. Is he gonna go back to mowing, Canal Basin Square and parks and stuff like that? Last year we had to hire that out.
right, I would think so, the mower has been repaired,
Good.
locked up in the shed up there,
Okay.
so.
Good. Okay.
But, yes,
Cause
I think we need to take the time.
let me ask, what are the bathrooms down, can they be opened up, and?
no,
Beginning of
the
spring?
bathrooms not been cleaned since someone
Okay,
opened the doors, left them unlocked, which is somebody went in there and.
right, can they be
made a
done,
mess.
can they be done by spring, say?
Yes, they will be open for spring.
Oh, good, yeah, that's, that's a good time, and I don't think there's gonna be freezing. Okay, so good, so he's working on that, I think,
Yes, yeah.
I think that's a priority, in this bathroom, so I think that's.
We talked about the going, do the outside event, outside of our control, or whatever, the cost of fuel going up.
Yeah.
We need to, keep that in mind, because there's certain places we have
Yeah,
to go in, and we don't wanna, burn up all our money, because somebody wants to go after all that nice to meet. Glass can go up to 3-4 inches and still look good.
I agree, but I don't think we need to cut as much as like with the park, or something like that, but Canal Basin Square really needs to be, because that's events, and that's a big one.
Okay.
You know, electric ball and leaf blow and all that.
But I like the idea of,
A lot of support.
I like the idea.
Yeah. One more thing about maintenance, I put this, actually on last meeting, and this is on our website. But, I've noticed, I've had people that have brought this to my attention, the town of Scottsville has seen increased instances of trash being placed in our dumpsters and in trash cans along the road, along our streets, and, I'm sorry, I think that is just the most ludicrous thing I've ever seen, that someone cannot take the trash from their own business and put it in a trash can, or pay Mr. Barnett to come by, or any of the other 2 or 3 trash collection people.
Yeah.
To pick up their trash, to come out and to use the town trash cans, or to be going up the food line and dumping 6 bags of trash in the dumpsters. Last year, we had to get, I asked Dan to put a lock on the dumpster over here behind Farmers Market, because people were using that. And, anyway, there is a code of Virginia that talked about, it's unlawful to dump or dispose of trash, garbage, or litter on public property or on private property.
Which is out in the human code.
Yeah,
It's out of control.
yeah.
And we're trying to transport it.
Grassland or something,
You know, it's the people are.
and find some junk mail, maybe that directs it back to the people.
We watched it, we just, yes, that, each time we did a box of those bags, it's $78
For the trash bags,
for the trash.
for the little, yes.
Each box,
Spot.
$78.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
We're
When she orders 200.
They will, hey.
Yeah.
Pretty well, yeah.
Because otherwise they break, I think the kind of cheaper, it's not feasible.
And then we talked about.
Paying for the service. Yep.
Well, it's the same thing as like the default taxes. It's, I'm now on roll. Yes, yeah, you are. I mean, it's the lesson hard, not your mark.
It's also not,
But they're all due the first of March, and, you know, we're still waiting on some, but some of the letters that I told you all that I sent out, I've gotten the taxes, and, you know, I understand people forget, or there's change, or there's, you know, someone passes away that had to come, I get all that, and I think I'm understanding of that, but with, you know, when it's just ignored, people just take it lightly. I don't, because of the payroll issue that we had like a month ago. So, anyway, I'll stop talking.
Okay,
Thank you. That's the Brian.
got 2 weeks to digest all this information.
It's on Sunday, or something's going.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, also, if you would, it's down.